Hey everyone, this is Chris Crazyhouse. Welcome back for another episode of Fan Art Fridays. Fan Art Fridays is a segment that I like to do on my YouTube channel where I sit back and relax, and I like to do some drawings of characters from pop culture. I also like to just go ahead and share some nostalgic ideas about my familiarity with the character, and also sharing maybe just some ideas and some tips as far as how to draw the character. And then maybe later towards the end of the video I give you some quintessential artists to probably look out for, because they do the character way better than I could ever do it, and they do it way more justice. So in today's episode I'm going to be drawing The Thing, and this is good old Ben Grimm from the Fantastic Four, one of the original characters in the Marvel Universe. You know, the Fantastic Four kind of helped Marvel stay open. At the time it was almost closing, but when Jack Kirby and Stan Lee created the Fantastic Four, they not only revitalized Marvel, but they helped to revitalize the comic book industry as we know it. And this was kind of the beginning of what we see in modern comics. So I'm going to be drawing The Thing today, and as far as my history with this character, I first discovered it by watching some old Fantastic Four cartoons. I believe it came out maybe either the 60s or 70s. I know it was done by Hanna-Barbera, but I used to watch it with my dad. And later on, I finally got into reading some Fantastic Four comic books. At the time, Walt Simonson was doing the artwork, and they were just doing some very weird adventures. It wasn't your typical superhero comic, and that's one of the things I think a lot of people forget or they miss about the Fantastic Four. It's really not a superhero comic. I know they're in the context of the Marvel Universe and superheroes, but the Fantastic Four are more adventurers and explorers. You can almost think of it more like Star Trek, that just happens to have, like, if you could think of the Star Trek crew having superpowers and going on their adventures rather than just, you know, being a regular crew. But that's pretty much what the Fantastic Four is. It's a group of adventurers going on different explorations. I think that is a better version and a better idea of what the Fantastic Four should be. And the best stories and the best comics that feature these characters, that's what they do. They're doing more exploration. They're not just superheroes beating up a bad guy every issue. Okay, even though the Fantastic Four has one of the best rogues galleries in comics. But I'm going to be drawing The Thing today, and one of the things to remember about drawing The Thing, I feel, is if you're going to start drawing him, try to get his basic shape down first. Because The Thing could be kind of complicated if you get too sucked into just drawing his rocky form, because he's one of those characters that has a lot of line work on the inside. You're drawing all the rocks and the cracks or whatever. That was one of the things that used to confuse me about drawing this character when I was very young. I would try to draw the character and I would get too wrapped up in drawing the rocks. I mean, when you're someone who has OCD, sometimes a character like this can kind of mess with your brain a little bit. The fact that he has so many little details, it can bother you. Drawing Spider-Man is something similar, because he has all his little webs on his costume. But with The Thing, the main thing to understand first is getting the body type and the shape of him right. He's a character that he doesn't really have much clothes on. He usually just has either some trunks or maybe some pants. And some of the adventures, you know, he has almost kind of like a wrestling singlet on. So you can draw that as well. If you don't want to waste your time drawing too many rocks, you can do the wrestling singlet version of The Thing. That might be an easy way to cover it up. But I like to go with the classic version where it almost looks like he's wearing just some underwear or some tidy whities, but it has the Fantastic Four logo on there. So I like to draw him that way. But make sure his body shape, and don't draw him too muscular either. When I talked about drawing the Hulk before, I say you don't want to make him look like a typical bodybuilder. The same thing with the Thing. You kind of want to make him more bulky. You know, make him kind of almost like his body, make it kind of straightforward down, almost like a tree trunk or something like that. Don't try to draw too much definition as far as making him a bodybuilder either. I think that kind of hurts the character, and he kind of loses his monstrosity type look as well. The Thing is a monster, but what makes him different from the Hulk is he still retains his original personality, and his personality is what, in my opinion, has made the character endear over the years, because unlike his teammates in the Fantastic Four, Ben Grimm can't change back into a normal human, and unlike the Hulk, he cannot change back into a normal human. The Thing is the Thing, and he looks like that, and that's been part of the pathos of the character, and the fact that he's stuck that way and just trying to have a normal life or normal relations with another human being. It's been, you know, pardon the pun, but it's been hard for him, right? The fact that he has this rocky exterior all the time. And, you know, some of the greatest stories about him has been him trying to deal with that, the fact that he looks this way. And, you know, he does at times get very depressed and throws tantrums. He gets frustrated with his teammates, whether it's Johnny Storm making fun of him, or the fact that his best friend Reed Richards, who is supposed to be the smartest man on earth but can't fix him, you know, that's always been some of the best stories written with the Thing in mind. But he's also not someone that wallows in self-pity. He does enjoy going out there, as he always says, it's clobbering time, so he enjoys kicking ass. So that's the one good thing about the character. And what I always liked about the character is the way he talks. A lot of people think that out of all the characters that Jack Kirby created, this one is the closest to the real Jack Kirby as far as his personality goes. So a lot of the way that the Thing talks is that New York street kid way of talking. And, you know, he's always been a very tough guy. He grew up in a tough place on Yancey Street. You know, just a young Jewish kid growing up in the hood. So he kind of retained that way of speaking. And I think that's one of the things that I like about the character's personality. It always cracks me up the way he talks in comics. And he reminds me of a lot of, you know, if you grew up with any type of uncles that were kind of grumpy or whatever, that's what he kind of reminds me of, like a grumpy uncle or a grumpy grandfather that's always kind of like hanging around, smoking a cigar or a cigarette, fixing the car or working on something, and doesn't take crap from anybody. Will knock you out in a second. So when drawing the Thing and thinking about the character, that's the best way I can encapsulate his character, is someone that, while he is dealing with a lot, he doesn't try to dwell too much on being the self-pity part of it, but he's someone that is endearing and will fight to the end. They've always kind of put it in the Marvel universe that on a physical scale the Thing cannot beat the Hulk, but that doesn't mean he's not going to try and do it. He's one of those characters who, no matter what the odds, he'll never give up. So that's another thing about the character. He's extremely heroic, and he'll do whatever it takes to save his friends or his family, and he's not going to back down from a challenge. So if anything, the character is extremely honorable and courageous. So once again, when drawing the Thing, always keep him kind of bulky. You know, save those rocks till the end. Always remember that he has only 4 fingers on each hand. It's not 5. You know, he has those 3 little fingers and 1 thumb on each hand. So make sure you always remember that. Some of the best artists, I think, that drew the Thing, I would say first, well, because maybe it's just because of nostalgia and my first noticing of the character, I would say look at Walt Simonson's version of the Fantastic Four and how he drew the Thing. I know a lot of people refer to either Kirby or even John Byrne, when John Byrne did his run on the Fantastic Four, which is another classic run. I didn't read those until much later, so in my mind, it was like Walt Simonson was the first one for me. Another great artist I think that does the thing a lot of justice is Art Adams. Art Adams does a very good version of it, and it's a shame that he hasn't had had a chance to do like a full run on the Fantastic Four. He's only done certain issues, but a lot of his issues are considered classic issues. And one of the most classic storylines, the Thing is hardly in it. Like the most classic storyline that Art Adams worked on was the new Fantastic Four that featured the Hulk, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Ghost Rider. But I think that when you look at some of Art Adams' fan art that he's drawn of the Thing, or some of the covers that he's done for Fantastic Four, that work is amazing. I mean, Art Adams is one of my favorite artists anyway in comics, so it's always great to see his version of the Thing. I think he does it very well and in a way that encapsulates the character and the character's personality. So those two artists I would think of. If you can think of any more in the comments section. Jim Lee's version is okay, but I think he was doing more of a take on classic people like John Byrne, their way of drawing it. So you can, if you like that version, that's fine. Or, you know, there's other people that have done the Thing as well pretty well, because I mean, like I said, the character is very old, so you can look over a litany of artists that have tried their versions of it. But those are just the ones off the top of my head that I enjoy. So you guys let me know, which artists you enjoy drawing the Thing. Let me know what you think of my version of it, me drawing and coloring it here. And I hope to see you here next week when I do some more fan art on my Fan Art Fridays. Anyway, guys, Chris Crazyhouse signing out. Peace.